Welcome back to episode 7 of Bug Bounty Field Notes, where I talk about every single vulnerability I find, whether that be dupe, invalid, paid, informative, whatever it may be. I will post every single bug I find right here into this Bug Bounty Field Notes. Just for a little bit of context, I've been a bug bounty hunter for the last 9 months. I've reported over 30 vulnerabilities on HackerOne alone. I have lots of informatives. I'm starting to stack lots of dupes. Have one valid bug from an actual government VDP, and I'm still trying to get my first paid bug. And this video, I'm going over another bug that I found. Let me start off by explaining that it ended up being a duplicate. It was weird because first I submitted it. It was a BOLO right here. It was like privilege escalation. It was interesting. Well, actually, it was actually privilege de-escalation, which is what made it kind of weird. So I submitted it, and it actually got triaged. So I was pretty happy. Next thing you know, they increased the severity from medium 4.6 to medium 5.3. So it didn't go to high or anything, but they increased the severity. So I started getting happy. And next thing you know, they hit me with this is the duplicate. I was like, oh, dang. But turns out I found one more field that the original report didn't find. So I think that's why they gave me the severity bump. All right, I went ahead and used Manus, and I made a lab so I can go over this with you guys, what exactly I found. So learning objectives, this was a BOLO, broken object level authorization, kind of like IDOR. Learn how improper input validation enables privilege escalation. In this case, privilege de-escalation. The impact was kind of low. Identify vulnerable registration endpoints. Apply secure coding practices to prevent BOLO attacks. I don't really know how the whole coding thing works. Maybe I'll walk you guys through that. All right. Vulnerability. Targets registration endpoint accepts user type values that should only be provisioned by administrators, admin, and super admin. By submitting these values during registration, an attacker can create an account with unauthorized privileges. These are just random values. I'm not using the real ones. I'm keeping the target incognito. But the privilege I found, I thought it was actually going to be privilege escalation, but it was privilege de-escalation. However, it kind of did give more authority because you had a certain tag that gave you more authority than the regular user. Okay, stage 1, reconnaissance. The registration endpoint accepts the following parameters: post API lab, register exploit. And then it's you had email, you had password, first name, last name. And then there was a user type in the registration field. And they just put the regular one, just user. But then I thought to myself, could I fuzz this? So with burp, that would take forever. Since I had switched to Kaido, this isn't going to take too long. So I just went, Claude, give me a list of 100 other user types you believe could be accepted. And I just started enumerating, doing that. And eventually I found some. I found 2. So, and they actually worked. And I was able to register as that. Notice that admin, super admin are accepted values, even though they should be restricted to administrators. Exactly. So tampering parameter, tampering. Manipulate the user type parameter to give unauthorized privileges. Try registering with different user type values. The server will accept both legitimate types, user, guest, and unauthorized types, admin, super admin. So this random email, random password, first name, test, last name, student. User type, let's go with admin. Submit registration. Button doesn't seem to work, but you get the point. So you could actually just change it and register, and you will now be an admin. It was just that simple. And then privilege escalation. In my case, remember, de-escalation. Observe how the server enforces an unauthorized user type. Because now that you have a different user type, you can't just say, oh, I'm a type that I shouldn't be. Next thing you need to do is you need to think about the impact. What is the impact? What can the attacker actually do now that he can escalate his privileges? Well, at least now that he's an admin, what can that do? Because you can't do anything because you're an admin. Maybe it's going to be accepted, but impact is very low. Rather than, let's say you're an admin, you can delete all regular users' info, look at it all, change it, all that stuff. Then you have very high impact. So once registered with an unauthorized user type, the server stores this value and enforces it in the authorization decisions. This means the JWT contains an unauthorized user type claim. The server's user record stores this type permanently. Subsequent API calls check this type for authorization. The UI renders a special badge for the unauthorized type. That was the main thing for Impact, was the badge, because it could misinform other users or other people about the validity of said user because of this badge that they would get. So the impact, an attacker can create an account with the user type without a verification, approval, or payment. This bypasses the provisioning process for enterprise clients. And I'm gonna have to cut that because that should not have been there. Okay. And now for the remediation and best practices. So this would be the vulnerable code right here, something like this. Secure code looks more like this. Not gonna explain it. Why? Because to be honest, I don't really care. And I could explain it, look closer, but it doesn't really matter, not to me. So key takeaways: never trust client input for sensitive fields. User type should be server assigned, not client supplied. Use implicit allow list. Validate against a whitelist of acceptable values, not a blacklist. Implement separate provisioning flows. Enterprise account upgrades should go through an authenticated internal process. Audit existing data. Identify and remediate accounts created with unauthorized types. And that's going to be it for the lab. Congratulations, we have finished the lab. What we have learned: BOLO, vulnerability mechanics, input validation importance, privilege escalation techniques, secure coding practices. So you might be saying, Logan said this was kind of easy, kind of obvious, but I literally just found this on a target less than a week ago. These bugs are still out there to be found. Like, this is one of the most common vulnerabilities, just like BOLO, IDOR, stuff like that. So these are just things you need to be aware of. You need to be hunting for. They're not that hard. Just spend the time looking at the requests. Like, if you're not looking at like login requests, logout requests, you're not looking at like anything where state are changing, you're leaving lots of attack vectors and surface out there for other hunters to report while you're doing XSS. I don't know. So that's it for episode 7 of Bug Bounty Field Notes. I just want to go over this duplicate that I found and hope you learned something. I'm out.